Hello folks, it's Eko here, and I am excited to dive into Alpha 20. In this first video, we're going to talk about all the new blocks and shapes that you'll have access to and how to leverage them. I'll take you through some examples of what you can build, show you some comparisons to Alpha 19, and get you ready and up to build your new Horde base in whatever style you want to do. So first thing we're going to do as we're approaching here, I put together a quick Horde base. Quick is a little bit longer than I was expecting, but it was a blast putting it together. But I wanted to play with some of the new block types and whatnot, so I'll run you through this and take you straight to the other side. I'm going to walk you through all the differences between Alpha 19 and Alpha 20, but I wanted to give you a quick sneak peek of what the base looks like so that you have some, thoughts in the back of your mind as I'm walking you through that. But we'll go back in here at the end of this video and show you the different usages I've had of the blocks throughout the base, and some of the neat areas that hopefully you can leverage them for your base. But for now, let me walk you through all the blocks that I have set up down here to give you a good idea of the shifts between Alpha 19 and Alpha 20. So first things first, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the changes to the block system. I know there was a lot of concerns out there from folks on how upgrades were going to work, so I wanted to break it down in Alpha 19 and then Alpha 20. And this is going to go left from right in the order of upgrade path, and I'll walk you through the health of the blocks and what's changed, and then the XP gains, which was another huge concern from folks. So if we look in Alpha 19, you had this progression from wood frame to wood to reinforced wood to cobblestone to concrete, reinforced concrete, and then steel. So at each of these paths, you would have XP, which I've got noted across the bottom here, and then the health of the blocks, which you've got across the top. So what I'll try to do is compare and bring out the major changes that have happened. So at the top level, you had a frame here. You had a wooden frame that had 50 health, and then that jumped over to a wood block that had 225. And then you had a reinforced wood block that was also 225 health, but when it was destroyed, it downgraded to the wood variant. After that, you had cobblestone with 1500, and then concrete with 2500, reinforced concrete with 5000, and then finally steel with 7000. And then steel also had that characteristic that reinforced wood had of when you destroyed this, it would downgrade to reinforced concrete. So you actually had a sum total of 1200 health, or 12,000 health, pardon me, between the two. Now, from an XP perspective, we had a jump of 48, 120, 240, 240, 360, up to a total of 1,056 XP per block that you upgraded all the way to steel. So this is a huge concern that folks had, because this is a lot of XP when you're talking about upgrading. And I know that there's other paths that you can take this, but I took the most basic path that takes you from a wooden frame all the way through to the end. So let's take a look at where this compares in Alpha 20 and what we have over here. So in Alpha 20, the first big thing you'll notice that's different is that the basic shape here, it's solid in Alpha 20 versus the open frame. It's a little bit easier to tell what shape you're putting down. And then it also has 100 health versus the 50 that you had back in Alpha 19. Next, you've got wood, and you'll notice two differences here. The first is that you get a bump of 96 XP. So essentially they combine the two for wood and reinforced into one. So you didn't have an XP loss yet. Additionally, you've got 500 health in this. So you still essentially have the combination of those two wood plus 50, because before you had 225 times 2, so that puts you at 450. So we're actually even up above that at this stage. So they did some rebalancing here. Next, you'll see stone. And then this is just as an aggregate. You don't have a separation between flag and cobblestone. And so this is 1500 health, which matches up with the cobblestone block that you had prior. Now this upgrades to concrete. And at this stage, you're going to jump over that 2500 that you would have had for regular concrete in Alpha 19 and go straight to the reinforced concrete value, which is 5000. And you're going to get that bump of 240. So this is where we're going to miss out on XP. This is the one spot that you're going to have a dip, because in Alpha 19, you would have had the progression from stone to concrete to reinforced concrete, and you would actually get that 240 XP twice. After this, you hit steel, which is the same increase in XP as an Alpha 19. And then for steel, you don't have the full 12,000 stack that you had, but you do have 10,000, which is a nice bump up from the prior 7,000. And you don't have to worry about it downgrading and having multiple types of materials. So in some sense, I think that that is a little bit more simplistic. So overall, the difference is going to be 240 XP difference between the two upgrade paths. And then again, your total XP over here is 816 in Alpha 20 per block that you upgrade all the way versus 1056 in Alpha 19. So that gives you a rundown on the various health totals from A19 to A20 and the upgrade paths. Now let's look at some of these critters. So you're going to have the ability to make 4 or 5 different items here. You've got this first one here, which is just called a frames variable shape helper. Then the next one is going to be a wood cube. Then you're going to have your stone and your concrete, and then lastly your steel. Now there is some differences to these as you see me go by them. When you get back to the last one, or the first one rather, this one you can pick back up. So that's a huge characteristic to understand about this. Now we've got the advanced shape menu that we've had since prior alphas, where we can come in here, but now when we go into this shape menu, you get all these crazy shapes to work with. And the nice thing is so you see we're up to 1,365 shapes. That is a massive uptick from what we had back in Alpha 19. I think, you know, the number is 1,200 something odd new shapes. And a lot of these were shapes that were only available in, you know, the creative menu, but now we've got them all here in normal play. So these are all bracketed also so that you can look through. Here's your basic shapes by square, by round. And I'll walk you through in a second. They actually made a POI that you can go check out in the prefab editor where you can look at all of these and just walk amongst them. I won't lie, it's crazy intimidating just looking at all these shapes that you're going to have access to and trying to figure out what all you can do with these is just amazing. The other key thing to mention is that all these shapes are available in every single material type that you've got. So whereas in Alpha 19, when you got into each material, they had their own unique little menu of shapes that they could do. So that's a quick view of how the menu structure in here works. So if I, you know, pick something out of here, so here's a cone that looks like the good old spikes that everyone misses from back in the earlier alphas, and switch this. Now when I place this, I'm going to get a cone. And same thing, if I wanted to go straight into, let's say, stone, I could do the same thing, and I could come in here into the shape menu and switch this to a cone. And now I would be putting down a stone cone. Now, here's one of the interesting things that they also shifted. So from an upgrade perspective, number one, the nail gun is way faster. And it'll just, you start from whichever level that you're at. And as long as you have the associated materials sitting here in your inventory to do the upgrade, you're just going to take that same shape and take it up all the way to the top. And now you'll notice when we hit concrete, there is no drying phase any longer. That goes right over it and straight to steel. So here's another just neat trick. So say I built this and I don't want to figure out where that cone is. If I'm pointing at another piece and I hold down R, I can come in here and go copy shape. And I can put that exact same shape down just like that. And likewise, if I had done something like this and we had advanced rotation on and I had it upside down like this, actually we'll take the concrete and we'll copy both. So we can again go point at the object you want to copy. We're going to copy shape and then hold down R again. And you can actually come over here and go copy rotation. And then you have an exact duplicate of how that's set up. And you can go all around the map if you're somewhere and you see an interesting part and you're like, oh, I'd love to use that in my base. You know, maybe I'm over here at, maybe I'm at this camp here. I was like, ooh, that table looks interesting. I'd like to make one of those. I can just come over to this table. And again, once I find it, copy rotation. Oh, did I hit one thing that I couldn't actually copy? Okay. So we can come over here to this camp and look for something interesting that we want to copy. Like, oh, hey, look, this is a whole new rounded section that we couldn't do in the past. So let's again point at this, and then we're going to copy that shape. And then again, we're going to look at it and we're going to copy that rotation so that we flip it on its side. And there we have an exact mimic where we can replicate exactly what we're seeing. And so when you're out in the world and you're finding new pieces, this is a great way to find ideas for your new builds. So one other neat trick that they added in conjunction with this, they finally fixed something with this paintbrush, because let's be honest, the paintbrush was a little broken. We had some problems with it. So the big problem that we had in the past with the paintbrush was that you go in, select your material, and let's say we wanted that concrete to actually look like, we'll go with the reinforced concrete because we miss it since that graphic is no longer in Alpha 20. And we go and grab this reinforced concrete and we go and paint it. And then we're like, but it only did one side. Well, now you have another option in that hold down R button, and that is paint all sides. And this is incredible. This makes life so much easier. And then boom, you've hit the whole thing. So the other nice aspect to this is, say I'm around my base, I need to touch something up and I have changed this and I was like, oh, I actually want this concrete to look like this stone. I can also hold down that R and point at this and grab this texture picker and boom. And now I've turned this to look like stone. So this is just going to make a lot of your base building way, way, way more simplified. So speaking of simplification, there is one massive enhancement added to Alpha 20 that's going to make your lives a lot easier when building, and that's that they've added this concept of structural integrity as a visual indicator. So in the past, say you were building a bridge and you're just chugging along here and you're not paying attention and you're going to put a leg down eventually, but you haven't quite got there. Well, now this is going to start to give you indicators. So you're going to see this light yellow saying you're getting pretty close to the end of the line. Then you're going to get, you know, kind of a solid, less opaque. And then you're going to get this pink. And this is going to be the indicator that if you place this, the bad things are going to happen. So don't do that. And likewise, this is really fantastic for situations like the drawbridge, which many folks have had issues with trying to place this thing and then have it just fall to pieces. So you can see right now we've got the indicator of red saying that I can't place it here, period. The white means it's okay. And then there's situations like this where it's saying if you place this here, it will fall apart. So don't do that. So with that, let's jump on over into the whole library of blocks so you can take a quick view at that. So here we are at the top level menu of 7 Days to Die, and I'm going to show you how to get here just so that if you want to go check it out, you can absolutely go do that. So in here, go down to editing tools, click on this, and then you can go to your level prefab editor, open that up. It's going to say EAC is enabled, say, yeah, whatever, that's great. Hit OK and let this load through. Once this loads up, it will bring up whatever POI you were working on last. In this case, I've got Eko A20 test. This was the one that I was using to build the castle. It's a little bit faster to work in the prefab editor and really get a usage of the shapes. So here's a quick aerial view. Again, I'll show you more at the end of the video. But what I actually want to show you here is to pop over, press escape, and come over here and go into your prefab browser. And we're going to look up here in this little section here. So again, fourth tab over, and you want to find yourself the one that's going to say AAA block shapes, and just double click on that. Sure, we'll save that and take some time and head down here and walk around these parts. This is just bonkers. So they even have a lovely start here. You can see the blocks. All these options are accessible to you now. So all these crazy parts along here. I spent a while just walking these to get ideas when I was building things, but you should spend some time and just check them out. These are, set up to be able to make pipes. A lot of unique shapes, some of which I don't even understand. There's some great shapes like this, 1, 2, 3. These all combine together to make, multiple pieces into, the tops of towers and things like that. There's a lot of multi-part shapes like that you'll find strewn throughout here. But this is just a massive treasure trove of creative energy that you can play with. So I've spent a good 10 or 12 hours fiddling around with this base to play with all the different parts and pieces and shapes. And the first thing you'll notice as you come in here is you've got this ramp that is at a much less inclined gradient than you normally have. They added a ramp that stages over 4 blocks, which is really nice for vehicles so that you don't launch it up into the air. Next thing you'll notice, if you look across, you got the interesting crenellations, and I'll explain how I do those in a second. And then we've got 2 additional drawbridges against the bottom, and I'll show you how those work. So the concept of this base is that there's actually 2 different flows that you can turn on and off depending upon where the zombies are coming from. But I'm going to show a few other pieces here. You've got this lovely new, if I can angle at it, there we go. Closing door with really great sound effects associated with it. You wouldn't want to leave this down all the time because there's no way to automate it, but it's good if you wanted an additional layer of protection to make sure that, the drawbridge, if it fell for any reason, no one could get through there. Not that they could get up to that level. But you can see over here, we've got the spiral staircase, which is new. We've got these holes down here as well. This is a new piece, and below it is an arrow chute. And this is those doors that we mentioned down there. If we come back to the back of the base, we can flip those on and off depending upon how we want to route our zombies. So we'll open this one up, and you'll see that drawbridge is open. So if I was a zombie, I would see that as a pathway in, and I would come down here and I would jump through, and you've got these new parts and pieces. Also, you've got a lot of things that you can add on the ground like this, markers, indicators. That's also how they did the lines in the road that you see around the map. So your zombies will come and jump through this jumpy game. And then these are also new parts along here. These are spikes. They don't do any damage or anything like that. They're just made of concrete, but they do allow those dart traps to shoot through. So you've got this lane. Additionally, these parts here can be shot through. So the dart traps will go straight down this hallway as zombies are trying to pass through. Next, they'll come up here where you've got someone who can sit in that window and have a line of sight to continue to shoot them. And again, they'll turn the corner and get shot in the back here. And then come in through here, and this is going to be your fighting position. Very standard if you've seen some of my other bases of how I've set this up. So when you're in fighting position, you just have that closed down. And then you've got controls over here. The second one up will turn on the dart trap. The third one, I haven't added it yet, but I'm going to put electric fences across there too to additionally slow them down. So I'll show you 2 more parts of the base. Let's show you real quick the basement here. So a lot of the wiring and whatnot is down there, if I can get this path right. And this is also where you can reload your dart traps. I also put this amazing little study down here where you could have all your crafting and whatnot. So down here you would have all your forges and your cement mixers and your food and all that good stuff. And then I just wanted to play and get this cozy little secret space that you would have, where you've got this big table. You could have role-playing sessions and whatnot. Used a bunch of campfires across here to create a fireplace. And then I love this. These bookcases are actually all made of concrete. So, if I pull out my shape again and look at it and do my shape copy in here, and then we'll copy the rotation as well. Where is that one? Copy rotation, boom. So you can see that is just a cement bookcase that's been painted. That way you can use parts and pieces like this as decorative aspects of your base, but allow protection. And also you could actually slip an actual bookcase in there that you got from the trader and have that or that you use from the creative menu for a storage box, and have it slipped in there and no one would know. They would just think that these were all fakes, and then you could have one real one. So that is the study. Let's head on up to the roof. If you've been enjoying this, please consider liking and subscribing and join me, because I'm going to be cranking out a lot more A20 content. So this base was inspired largely by the fact that Alpha 20 brings in a lot of curves to the game that previously weren't there. It was mostly squared off, you know, like you've got these right here, which are fantastic. Also, I put these in here because these work as great little grenade shoots. If you've seen any of my other base videos, I do love my grenade shoots. They're lots of fun as the zombies are coming down. And also you can't fall in them as you come over the second layer where you've got the arrow slit stops you, so you can pop right out. Let's go up to the top level using these lovely spiral stairs, which are awesome looking, but sometimes a little bit glitchy on getting up and down. So here is the top section. And again, you know, I mentioned these rounded sections. So these towers are built using a number of blocks that circle around. So it's a multi-part, and then you stack them up. And then likewise, the cone section on the top is made of, I think, 10 different parts that you have to all piece together to get that effect. So likewise, many more rounded features. There's a new rounded farm plot here on the corner, so you can get a little bit of an aspect there. And then likewise, we carry this up, and you can check out the clock tower here. This is cool. This is a 9-part piece, and you can separately color the background and then the foreground where you've got the numbers and the hands on the clock. So that is it for my first Alpha 20 base. If you have any ideas on a good name for it, please drop it down in the comments and let me know. This was designed more focused on showing you all the shapes and how to play with them, though I do intend to throw a horde at this just to see how it'll fare. If you've had a chance to already get into the menus and start building yourself, let me know which of these crazy parts and pieces you've used and some suggestions that you can toss my way. Otherwise, that is it for this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Eko's out.